I think one of the biggest reasons that people, especially people that are consciously creating, trying to manifest, struggle financially has nothing to do with money and everything to do with identity. And what do I mean by this? Something that I've noticed recently or for a while now, but it's like just getting louder and louder, is how normalized struggling is. How often people bond over stress, over bills, exhaustion, survival, over what they are experiencing out in the world, right? And I noticed even when I have wanted more for my life, part of me, a big part of me still identified with being the person that carried everything, being the person that was still in survival mode, being the person that had to overcome, right? When your identity is built around surviving, abundance can and will feel unfamiliar and unsafe. And I think that this is something that consciously we might be aware of, but we're not seeing it in our own lives or seeing it for how harmful it actually can be if you are somebody that is trying to consciously manifest, create a different and better life for yourself, create more wealth, more abundance. Your identity in lack, your identity in the struggle will prevent you from having the real wealth that you actually desire. Some of the ways that this shows up is having guilt around receiving, downplaying your desires, having fear of judgment, wanting to stay relatable. That's a big one. Like, that's a truly big one because we have, in our human nature is wanting to be relatable, wanting to fit in, right? Whether, I don't I say this all the time. I don't love that term. I don't love the idea of fitting in uh, because I consider myself sometimes like a lone wolf, right? I just read this thing about how success as a lone wolf is harder, right? So I'm just like, it's in my head. But truly, if you understand human nature, like we all from a cellular level, like want to stay part of the pack. Another is that emotional attachment to working hard. Right? A lot of us have this as our identity, discomfort with ease, allowing things to be easy, allowing things to be simple, allowing things to come with less effort or minimal effort. Right. So all of these things. A big thing that I see, especially for people that are attracted to my work, is um, struggle can become proof of goodness. If things are easy for me, I feel guilty. I feel like, why is it easy for me and not for other people? It's identity shaking, right? For a lot of us, especially women raised in church culture, these types of things, right? Where it's like, if I am receiving more, what does that say about me? It says that I'm a bad person. What does it say about me if I want more? Right. And this is something that I deal with, especially talking about money. For example, like, what are other people going to say? What are other people going to think? Are they going to view me as somebody that is money hungry? Right. And like all of these things, which are simply not true. It's ingrained in our culture and it can be really, I was going to say painful, but it can be really eye-opening to start to look at these things within ourselves. And when you start to shift this, your experience starts to shift. If you feel morally safer in the struggle, you will feel that you are humble, that you are hardworking, that you are relatable, that you self-sacrificing, you stay small, you're not too much, you're not selfish, you're not arrogant. And all of these things make you part of the whole, make you feel like you are actually safe and good. And most of us, especially white women, have been trained to be viewed as good. And if you're not good, what is the alternative? You are bad. You don't deserve. Like, I can feel myself if I'm thinking about the good versus bad or evil. If you're not good, and even if it's not even how you view yourself, it's how you perceive others as viewing you, as judging you. Um, like that's enough, right? And so it feels so unsafe. It feels so unsafe to not be perceived as good. It just does. And this is something that takes work. This is something that takes unpacking, especially if you are so deeply conditioned in this. But once you learn to shift this and once you learn to like detangle goodness from money, right? Like moral integrity, not being like this with money. And here's the thing. It's like, because now I'm seeing like, there's lots of talk about billionaires and people with lots of money are evil. My personal belief is y yes, and yes. And the solution to that is not for more of us to struggle. The solution for that is for all of us to understand that money is not the problem. It is the person with the money that is the problem, right? And it's like understanding that struggling does not help anybody. It truly doesn't. So if you are somebody, like if you are listening to this and you're like struggling with the emotional, moral, varying beliefs around money, know that most of that has been programmed into you on purpose, right? And you get to receive more in a stable, peaceful, calm, supportive, generous way. And we get to rewrite what it means to have money, to have a lot of fucking money. I don't know why they're showing me this. Is like we get to rewrite what it means to work hard, right? You don't have to kill yourself in the name of being productive, being good. Another piece of this is a lot of people fear becoming disconnected from others if life gets easier. It's a big thing. And when you learn to hold yourself in that and trust yourself and move through that, life becomes a lot better and you are actually able to have deeper, more meaningful connections because you're being authentic to who you actually are and who you actually came here to be. Another like big piece of this is people say they want money, but they're still emotionally bonding through suffering. This is such a huge, huge, huge thing. And I find myself doing this sometimes still, where having conversations about bills, having conversations about inflation, about how exhausted we are, about how you're barely surviving, overworking, people saying must be nice, joking about being broke. I see this so much, especially right now. And it's like, of course, that is the reality for so many people. If you are human, these things are going to come up, right? It doesn't matter how much money you make, there's always an opportunity to bond through suffering, right? And it's funny because without saying like too much information, there was somebody in my life who no matter what this person received, they had a complaint about it. And I would joke and say they could win the lottery and be pissed about it because they have to pay taxes on it. And it's like, it doesn't matter what is happening in your world, the way that you react to it is what matters, right? And so that's not to say that you can't complain or vent or have real emotions to what is happening. It's choosing not to stay there, choosing not to have connection only through emotionally bonding about suffering. You have to be aware and you have to be consciously choosing your conversations. Like this is a reminder to myself even because it's such a huge thing, right? Like we don't, if you are with somebody or a group of people and they're complaining or that feels harsh. Having conversations around what is happening in their personal lives with their money, and you are actually feeling more secure in your money and in your wealth journey, it would be uncomfortable to be like, actually, things are pretty good for me, right? And like notice that within your system. It starts with noticing. The collective identity will reinforce struggle constantly. You have to choose. You have to choose this every day. You have to choose your own thoughts about money, your own thoughts about struggle and ease and all of it. And it is not easy, right? It is not easy, but it is simple. It's simply noticing your thoughts, catching them, and choosing something different. How does that look? It's, shit, this bill came in and it was more than I expected. And it's like, okay, one way to shift that belief, one way to shift is, first of all, I'm going to feel the fear, the panic, whatever's coming up around the bill. And then I'm going to choose, no, actually, this isn't how this goes for me. I always have more than enough. I always have more than enough. I'm not sure where the money is going to come from, but I'm willing to see things differently. I'm willing to be pleasantly surprised. That's my favorite thing is I'm willing to be pleasantly surprised. I'm willing to be pleasantly surprised. And then letting it go, right? Not this is coming through. It's like not indulging in the struggle of it all and in the connecting through I just heard pain is misery, misery loves company. That's it. Um and it's like, oh yeah, but it does feel good to talk about these things. And it's not that you can't talk about them. It's not that you can't have your feet grounded in reality. It's not that. It's don't fucking stay there. Don't stay there. Don't stay in the struggle. Know that you get to choose to experience something different. And here's the truth in all of this. Your connections will only deepen with the right people when you are living authentically to what it is that you are choosing to experience. If your struggle is your identity, peace will feel empty. If you are used to the drama of the struggle, if you are used to the highs and the lows, if you are used to never knowing, right? Like what, I don't know, I'm just hearing like, I don't know what shit's gonna happen today, but I know there's gonna be shit. And it's like, then shifting into receiving with ease and having more than you need. Like that is a peace and a calm that feels boring, that feels empty, that feels isolating at times. It can feel unsafe because you distrust it, right? It's like that shift, like you might shift back and forth, and that's okay, right? The the point is to become aware and to continue to consciously choose to be in the peace, to learn to build your nervous system's capacity for boringness. Like listen, I'm still somebody that loves some good drama. Like the highs and the lows, being in the peace and the calm sometimes feels really unsafe, especially when, the inner child's like, I want to fight, I want to go. And how this shows up is you think you want ease, and then ease arrives, and suddenly you start to create problems. I see this in relationships all the time. Clients want to have great relationships. They start dating. Oh, I didn't like this. I didn't like that. I didn't like this. And it's like, yeah, those things are valid, but are you creating problems so that you stay safe? Another thing is obsess, like constantly checking your bank account, constantly, looking over bills and checking your ledgers and all of the things, getting that high from obsessing overly, overly, overly. Another thing is spending recklessly. This is part of that creating problems. This is something that, I don't know why they want me to say this, but it's like online shopping has really made this so much easier to spend recklessly, which, I love online shopping. It's great because you don't have to leave the house, all of that. But noticing when that urge is coming and why, right? Like why do I want to buy this thing? I've seen reels and like TikTok videos where especially younger, like early 20s, creating these videos where they're like, I'm going to record every time I want to buy something, or I'm going to add it to my Amazon cart. And then at the end of the month, I'm going to decide if I actually wanted to buy it. And most of the time, it's like 99% of the shit they don't end up getting. And it's because it's like that dopamine hit, that wanting that rush, because peace and stability will feel boring, will feel empty if you're not used to it. If your nervous system has been conditioned to feel safer, constantly being activated, right? You're going to sabotage. You're going to chase the stress. Your nervous system will equate all of that stress and the highs and the lows and the reckless behavior as aliveness. And so when you shift out of that, it will feel boring. It will feel boring. And my biggest tip here is get a hobby, start reading, start painting, like go for walks, do something other than the self-sabotaging behavior, just to start building some space between the old identity and the new. Okay. Another thing is you may not fear failure. You may fear no longer recognizing yourself. Your identity, your brain's job is to keep you safe. When you choose to shift into a new identity that is so vastly different from the way that you've been conditioned to be, it can be jarring, right? So, who are you without the pressure? Who are you without the proving? Who are you if you're not constantly trying to figure it out? Who are you without the survival story? That's where the real identity work begins. And for a lot of my clients, and for myself even, who am I without being the one that carries it all? Who am I if I'm not solving everybody else's problems while neglecting my own desires? Who am I? Right? And you might be like, oh, but that these are all good things. Within your body and your nervous system, it's not going to feel like a good thing straight away. It's going to feel terrifying. It's going to feel impossible. It's going to feel like, oh, but I want to be the one. I want to be the one that's capable. I want to be the one that people come to when they need support. I want to be the one that, is all of those things. And I will tell you that it is worth doing the unpacking, doing the work to get to the place where you're willing to let that old identity go and become the version of you that has what you want, what you need more than enough. It's worth it. It truly, truly is worth it because life gets to feel alive in a much different way, in a much more sustainable, beautiful way. And I think that that is the end goal, hopefully. And I know it's like, oh, you talk about manifesting money. The goal is to, you know, receive large amounts of money. It's like, yeah, that's part of it. But the deeper part of it is being at peace, being in a place where you don't dread waking up in the morning. You don't dread going to work. You don't dread your life because you're exhausted and burnt out and all of these things, right? We want sustainability. We want health. We want abundance. We want peace. The version of you that is in the addiction to struggle does not actually want those things. But the you that's like actually in there screaming for you to pay attention wants to do this work, wants to receive in a way that feels good, wants to receive in a way that is actually uplifting to others. So I'm going to leave you with this. The work isn't just learning how to receive more, it's learning who you are without the struggle. And I am willing to bet that the version of you who be without the struggle is who you actually want to be. if this is something that you would like support in, this is the work that I do. This is the way that I help my clients completely and radically change their lives.